Hi, welcome back everyone. Thanks for watching this video. My name's Thomas Harrington, and today I'm going to talk about a little bit about where to live in Southwest Edmonton. So this video is for anyone who's either A, moving to Edmonton, or perhaps you're already living here and you're trying to figure out where to live. Today I'm going to be talking about the southwest end of the city and discussing a few different neighborhoods in there. So today I'm going to talk about 4 different neighborhoods throughout the Southwest, just kind of give you a different idea of each area and where they're located. One thing I'll mention here is that they're not the only communities in this area, but these are just a few kind of larger, just different communities, different areas to give you an idea of what you can get for your dollar, age of home, amenities around it. For each of these communities, for argument's sake, the surrounding couple communities are going to be vaguely similar, but I just wanted to pick a few to focus on for today's video, just to keep it moderately short and sweet. This video will be segmented down below, so you can click to each area. And I'll mention before we start that I am a real estate agent. If you're looking to find your next home in Edmonton and have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help. Also, I'm a born and raised Edmontonian. I'm from the West End, so West and Southwest I know extremely well, so I can help you find a place to call home there, or frankly anywhere in the city. Anyways, let's get into it. Southwest Edmonton, for one, you can kind of see it highlighted here on the map. It stretches, it's a fairly large, any of the areas are going to be pretty large. As you can see, Edmonton has a nice ring road that encapsulates basically the entire city for the most part, called the Anthony Henday. And then you have some communities outside this ring road, right? So anything outside of the Henday is kind of very suburbs, are new and newer areas. They're a little bit further, but they still have quite a few amenities and some nice new homes. So for the Southwest, the kind of borders, if you will, on the West End, we have the river here, right? All the way south to, this is called 41st Ave Southwest. Then you have Highway 2 / Calgary Trail, which is kind of this middle road. And then the north portion of it is pretty much just a bit south of White Ave in the university area here. Then you're getting into like central, south central. Lots to get into, so let's get to our first community here. So for each area, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, talk about the price, talk about the amenities, hopefully give you some idea. So the first community we're going to talk about is Windermere, which you can see on the map here. So it is kind of the southwest corner of the Southwest, basically. It's a new area, if you ask many, people who've lived in Edmonton for a long time, and it is a new area, but it's been around for about 10 to 12 years now. So it's quite established. There's lots of shopping, lots of retail, a lot to do down there. So I thought this was a really good community. There were also quite a few sales in this area last year. You can actually kind of see, compared to some of the next ones we're going to look at, it's a very, very large neighborhood. There's technically 2 areas in here. So you have Windermere Estates. That's not really officially a community. There's technically Upper Windermere and then like Windermere here. There's also Ambleside right beside, which is, for argument's sake, a very, very similar community. If you're looking in this Southwest new area, Ambleside, for argument's sake, is going to have a lot of the same sizes and styles of homes as Windermere. Windermere also has a lot of very high-end luxury homes as well. So that kind of transitions to our next point is, when it comes to average price, it's kind of hard to break it down for Windermere. Reason being is there's a very, very, very wide range of homes in Windermere. You have everything from $200,000 condos, $350,000 homes, $500,000 homes, $750,000 homes, $1 million and up homes. Last year, there was even a record-setting sale for $3.6 million last year for a very large show home. It's one of the higher prices in the area, just for reference, and many sales over $2 million even last year. So there's kind of something for literally for everyone and a very wide range. When we get into the numbers a little deeper, the average price for Windermere is $581,000, but the median price is $538,000. So what that means is 50% of the homes, half of the homes in the area, are under $538,000. So an area like Windermere is going to have a really high average price just because there's so many $1 million, $2 million homes. It kind of skews the numbers a little bit. So I'll talk about average price and then median price just to give you a better picture of what you're actually going to see in that community. So there's still lots of starter homes, and you're actually going to see a lot of homes in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. There's a pretty good selection there. Windermere actually has a lot of activity in that $500,000 to $750,000 price point. So if you're kind of looking for more of that executive end of homes, there's quite a bit of selection, quite a bit of activity in this area for you. So the age range is anywhere from 2008 to brand new 2020, 2021 homes. Most of the resale market is 2013 through 2017. That's kind of when the Windermere area saw the most construction. But there are some homes as old as 08, 09, 10. But those were kind of the first homes in that area. Overall, a very new area for argument's sake for the most part. Some pretty new homes. Not too much to worry about there. As for amenities of the area, you have a few very large shopping centers. So you have two super centers kind of anchoring the area. You have this one here, which has a very large superstore. There's actually some nice restaurants. Buco is one of them. A few more, typical fast casual dining restaurants. But then one neighborhood over in Ambleside, you have this center here, which is called the Currents of Windermere Center. And it's a huge, huge shopping center that has a ton of anchor tenants and also flagship stores for a lot of retailers. We have Cabela's here. There's a large Wine and Beyond. That was the first Wine and Beyond in Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken. Typical shops like Canadian Tire, etc. There's actually a Cineplex VIP theater. There's a bunch of restaurants, so huge entertainment district area here. Tons of shops, just an insane amount. Everything you could possibly really need. You can kind of see by the green areas on this map, but there's quite a few natural, kind of man-made nature areas in a mix. Mixed in here, you have this Langdale Pond area. There's a few other nature areas here. Nice community where they actually did a good job with putting in a lot of walking paths, trails, etc. So you can hike, jog, bike, whatever, get some good outdoor space. As you can see, there are two golf clubs down here. We have quite a few golf courses in Edmonton. Now, River Ridge and Windermere, I believe, are still private clubs. And then you also have Yager Ridge over here. Tons of golfing options in the Southwest as well. Now, one other thing I'm going to talk about for these communities is drive times. Just so you kind of have an idea of how long it's going to take you to get places, get around the city, see if this is the right community for you or not. So one area I'll talk about is getting to the U of A. The U of A, and then for argument's sake, kind of the south side, U of A is very close to what is called White Avenue, which is 82nd Ave, which you hopefully can see that street right there. That's kind of our main drag for the south side of town, where the bars, nightlife, restaurants are. White Ave's kind of our main known spot on the south side. So just for reference, and then of course the U of A, if kids or family or whoever might be going to U of A, it's good to know how far it is. So from the southwest side of town, from Windermere specifically, it's about a 19-20 minute drive here. Now, you'll kind of see as we go through this area, this one road here is called Terwillegar Drive. It's kind of the main road of the southwest and connects everything. It's a very large road, but it is a very busy road, and the way the southwest is laid out, you do kind of have to funnel through Terwillegar Drive to get to the more central neighborhoods. So, rush hour time, realistically speaking with you, it may be decently busy down there for sure. As for getting downtown, a little bit longer. It's about a 27-minute drive, 29-minute if you cross the river here at the White Mud. But yeah, 27 minutes, half an hour. You can also take the Gateway Boulevard way, which is, rather than Terwillegar, you take Highway 2, which goes into the city and gets you downtown as well, if that's going to be your commute. Moving on, just because I did it in my West End video, I'm just going to show you where West Edmonton Mall is, just for reference. If you're moving to Edmonton, maybe you're familiar with it, but have been here before, you know about Edmonton, you probably know about our mall. So just for kind of reference to see how far it is, and maybe that's the one place in Edmonton you do know. So it's about a 19-minute drive from the southwest, 19 minutes. This is showing the traffic conditions of this recording, but that's probably a pretty good idea to give you the range it's going to be in. Now, if you've watched my video talking about the west end of town, the nice thing about being in the south and southwest is it cuts a little bit of time off your airport drive if you're someone who's going to be flying in and flying out moderately often. 22 minutes to the airport cuts a little time off when you're nice and close to the Henday here and the highway on the south side. And, frankly, if you're leaving, not rush hour times, you can cut a few minutes off of this as well. So the next community I'm going to talk about is Terwillegar Towne, or most people just call it Terwillegar. Now, Terwillegar, and this is kind of a thing about Edmonton, and you'll notice if you know local Edmontonians or whatever, we will refer to general areas by one specific community's name. What I mean by this is if we zoom in a little bit here, we can actually see. So technically in Terwillegar, we have Terwillegar Towne. They call this part Terwillegar Heights. There's Terwillegar South, which is a little different, little newer. If you talk to an Edmonton person and they say, I live in Terwillegar, it might be like any of these 5-6 communities in this part. Going back, if you live in say Glenridding or Ambleside or something, people might say they live in Windermere, kind of that general area. But anyways, so I'm focusing on the specific area, Terwillegar Towne today. There's a few communities around it that are vaguely similar. To get right into it, average price in Terwillegar Towne is $449,500, but the median price of home is $394,500. So this is kind of interesting because Terwillegar kind of has specific brackets of where homes are, because there's actually a lot of homes and a lot of selection under $400,000, but you only see a handful of homes in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. But then home prices kind of go up from there. So we kind of have under 400 and then like over 600 and kind of a weird in between. And that's why the average numbers are skewed a little bit for Terwillegar specifically. So, I mean, it's affordable, but you also have some nice larger executive homes mixed in the area as well. Now, age range, quite a bit of age range in Terwillegar Towne specifically. The range is from 1997 to 2008. The majority were built in the mid to early 2000s. The average age for the area is 2002. So 2002, 03, 04 is kind of where the bulk of them are going to be. The one thing I'll mention here, so if you go a little further south, Terwillegar South, a little newer, like 08, 09, McTaggart, McGrath are little higher end areas, so little higher search prices. And then slightly newer as well, up to like the mid 2010s. And then the Southwest is kind of funny, where it was built very much in stages, just because it was frankly kind of a remote area many, many years ago. Obviously built out now, but when you get not too far away, we go even up here, Ledger, Carter Crest, Henderson, Haddo, Bullia. These homes are like 80s and 90s kind of thing. But kind of a unique area. So as for amenities, so the main kind of drag here is Town Center Boulevard. You can sort of see it here. It is this like double lane. It looks like kind of a double laned road just because it has kind of a like a meridian on it sort of thing. So Town Center Boulevard kind of goes through the community here, connects up to 23rd Ave. And it's a really cool little place where even when I meet people from Edmonton, I'm showing clients who are from the city, and maybe we look in this area, it's kind of a hidden gem because a lot of people don't know this Town Center Boulevard is there, because when you get down here near this Remedy Cafe, there's a really cool shopping center and kind of a really unique little retail center, kind of a town. It is a town center effectively. It's a very unique feel where it almost feels like you're in like a little small town, and very, very private, and you'd never know it's there unless you live in that community. It's kind of intriguing, and I take locals there and they'll see it for the first time and be kind of surprised. This Remedy Cafe is one of the anchor tenants there. Really great cafe chain here in Edmonton, by the way. The nice part is there's quite a few schools around here. You have a few parks and natural areas, as you can see here. We have just kind of the Terwillegar Park. There's this Tomlinson Park, which you can also walk in. Nice and close by is the Terwillegar Community Rec Center here, which is a huge rec center. It's like a quad rink rec center, all kinds of stuff. There's 2 high schools there. You have another power center or super center here for shopping at the corner of Rabbit Hill and 23rd Ave here, nice and close, for large grocery stores, etc. It's there's a lot of amenities. The one drawback I will mention, you are pretty close here to the White Mud Creek Ravine, which runs just over here. Somewhat walkable or bikeable from Terwillegar. There's areas you can drive to and then go out there. Really nice, beautiful part. Different ravine we have in Edmonton as well. And lots to do down there. There's plenty of trails, paved trails, off-road, that kind of stuff. Now, the one thing I will mention is Terwillegar is a bit of a funny area, and I think it was just kind of, the time it was built, and it's hard to show you on Google Maps, but if we ever went and looked at a home there, you'd kind of see it where there's kind of some strange ins and outs of the area. Town Center Boulevard is the main one, but when you come in on any of the other entrances, you have this one over here by 23rd Ave, you have Haddow Drive, which is right over here. It's kind of strange where you're like driving down a residential street, but it's supposed to be the main street of the area. It's just a little bit of a funny layout to get in and out of this community at a few parts. It's very hard to describe. You'd have to drive around and get a feel for it, but it's just a little wonky. So getting into the drive times from Terwillegar Towne here. So U of A, 17 minutes, give or take, 15, 16, 17. So you're shaving a little bit of time off of Windermere, but you're not that far, so it's not a huge improvement, but it's not too bad either. There's a lot of great transit options from the south side, though, to utilize the LRT, which I'm going to come back to in a minute. As for downtown, you're still 24, 25 minutes. Again, kind of the problem with the suburbs is to get downtown, it's going to be a little tricky. Frankly, Edmonton's a commuter city. If you're moving here, you basically need a car unless you're living right downtown. And even then, we have quite a bit of urban sprawl. You know, we're a medium-sized city that's kind of spread out. Our roadways are fairly efficiently laid out, but you're realistically going to be needing a vehicle if you're moving here. As for the mall, 15, 16 minutes from Terwillegar. And then for the airport as well, you know, we're looking at a 22-minute drive. So that is the one plus as being Southwest. You have a ton of amenities. You can get to the airport nice and quick. But if you're wanting to go downtown, U of A nightlife, White Ave, it's going to be a little more of a drive, realistically. So moving on, the next community we're going to talk about here is Greenfield, nice Southwest community. Little more getting a touch more central and a little closer to kind of the U of A White Ave area as well. Actually a really nice area down here. Now, as for average price, it's just over $455,000 in this area, and the median price was $439,000 last year. Now, this area is interesting. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because the prices are interesting. There's a lot of uniformity with the prices. What I mean by that is they're vaguely in the same range. So the majority of the homes that actually sold last year were right around that 450 range. Some homes do sell in Greenfield under 400,000, but in this area, when they're under 400,000, they're going to be a little bit more dated, maybe need some updating. Usually they're well cared for. They're very larger homes. So a lot of the bungalows in older areas in Edmonton are, you know, around, let's say 1,000, 1,100 square feet. In this area, if it's a bungalow, it'll be more like 1,300. Or if you're getting into like a lot of split level and 2-story homes, you get a lot of extra square footage there. So just kind of slightly larger homes in this area, nice older, more established area, but still a pretty affordable price range. Now, there was only one sale last year over 600,000. So as you can kind of see, most of the homes, and there's quite a bit of uniformity in that 425 to even 500, 550 range. You're looking at around that 425 to 500 is where the bulk of the homes are going to be in that area. Nicely updated older homes at that price point, and usually some larger floor plans. Just a really great area. Now, for ages of the home, it's 1964 to 1977 is the range, with most of them built before 1970, so mid to late 60s realistically. Again, getting in, because we've taken quite a jump from Terwillegar being early 2000s to these being early 60s, you know, this is an area where we're going to need to think a little bit more about long-term updates that have been done to the home, the bones of the home in terms of plumbing, furnace, roof, windows, so on and so forth, just making sure it's been well upkept for you. Now, as for amenities in this area, this is the first area where I'll mention what we have is the Southgate Mall, or Southgate Center, which you can see right here. Now, Southgate Mall is interesting because it's actually a very large mall in the grand scheme of the world, but because we also have West Edmonton Mall, it's kind of West Edmonton Mall very much dwarfs it. It's very small compared to West Edmonton Mall, but it's actually a very nice mall. It has tons of shopping. It doesn't quite have the like entertainment aspect that West Ed does. West Ed has like, you know, theater, restaurants. Southgate doesn't. It essentially doesn't. But, you know, it's just down the street. So you could drive 15 minutes to West Edmonton Mall, or if you need to get to one of the stores here, you know, it's literally about a 5-minute drive from Greenfield. Now, this is also the first community where I can mention the LRT, which is our light rail transit system, great public transit system we have. So as for stops, you can see these little train-looking icons right here by Southgate Mall. There's a big LRT station here. Now, in Edmonton, the way it works right now, our LRT runs along 111th Street, which is this street here, which is the east boundary of Greenfield. It goes, the final stop is down here on 23rd Ave, right on this community, Cascateo. That's the last LRT stop. And then it goes up north. It goes through U of A, goes through downtown, goes to the arena, and then it ends in northeast Edmonton up here at Clairview here. So it kind of goes this way through downtown and then south side this way. The west line of the LRT and the southeast line are under construction. So soon it will connect the east and west. But historically speaking, and as of this recording, the LRT is only really accessible if you live in certain areas, either south and central and northeast. So the nice part about being in the southwest, but these more central southwests around Greenfield, Duggan, Empire Park, Malmo, Blue Quill, Steinhauer, all very similar communities in terms of age of homes and price point vaguely. You'll actually be accessible to the LRT. So if you're someone who's going to be a commuter downtown, but you don't want to drive, or if you're working at the U of A or attending U of A, it's very nice because you can actually use the LRT in this area. Now, as for amenities or other things to do, I mean, you can still access the White Mud Creek. You're basically right on it. It's walkable. You have the Dare Club, which is a private golf club, but there is golf there. Quite a few parks and schools here. Now, you have kind of some smaller retail centers in here, and then you have to drive a little bit out to get to the larger shopping centers. The closest one to you is going to be down here, kind of where I said that LRT stop was. There's some larger grocery stores, Safeway, Save-On, etc., anchored down here. And then the south central area here is a little interesting, where there's a lot of smaller retail centers with some kind of cool little shops, pubs, restaurants. Lots of little neighborhood gems in these areas too. And then you kind of have this shopping boulevard or shopping center. I can't really think of what else to call it. It's technically called the South Park Center here. So going south from the White Mud here, you have Calgary Trail, which is the southbound lane, and Gateway Boulevard, which is the northbound lane. And then in between the two on the south side, you have all kinds of great big stores. This is purely retail in here. And then you have the two highways on either side. So lots of big stores, Walmart, Superstore, H Mart, there's a TNT, all kinds of stuff. So you'd probably do some of your big shopping here, but this is a pretty busy area, but there's some pretty unique big anchor tenants located here. As you get a little more central on the south side, it does have quite a bit to offer. And then you get slightly better commuting compared to the southwest portion, which is a little more isolated, just the way the lay of the land. Now, and the one last thing I'll mention real quick is in Edmonton, we actually have one ski hill right in the city called Snow Valley, which you can see here. Not a huge ski hill, but kind of a small in-city hill, either practice or, take the kids, whatever. So that's nice and close by as well. Something to do. So you talk about drive times here for Greenfield. Like I said, U of A, nice and close, 11, 12-minute drive. So if you're going to be driving from Greenfield to U of A in White Ave area, it's 10, 11, 12 minutes. Still pretty close, pretty easy to get there. As for downtown, I mean, you're still crossing the river, a little more of a drive. So it's about a 19, 20-minute drive from this end of town. Now, for West Edmonton Mall, just for reference, 15 minutes, not bad. But I will show you Southgate Center here. Yeah, see, literally straight shot down the street, 5-6 minutes from Greenfield to get to Southgate. So that's kind of going to be your other shopping spot. Now, the interesting thing here is, despite being a little more central, your drive time to the airport is slightly better than some of the other communities we've looked at today. So it's only about a 20-minute drive. Once you get on Calgary Trail here, which is kind of the main central road of the south side, it's a pretty straight shot straight down to the airport. So nice, easy drive still if you're someone who needs to go to the airport a lot. So the last community I'm going to talk about on today's video for the Southwest is Parkallen right here, which, if you recall back to the first video, Parkallen is kind of the last community, Parkallen and Allendale here, before you get into what is largely considered South Central Edmonton. Because if I'll just click this map just to show you. Yeah, so as you can see, I mean, you have Queen Alexandra as well, I guess. Belgravia, McKernan, most would call those university area. But anyways, for sake of today's video, this is about as far central as you can go and still being what is arguably considered Southwest. So just to kind of give you some variety of what you can get in Edmonton. So we have a couple of communities around here, Parkallen, Allendale, Queen Alexandra. These are all pretty similar ones in terms of age of homes, price points, etc. Lendrum Place, Pleasant View. I kind of mentioned that on the last one. There's kind of a bit of cutoff here where these two communities here are going to be more similar down to Greenfield. And then Parkallen, Allendale, they're going to be a little more older, getting towards post-war bungalows, which I'll elaborate on in a minute. So just to discuss price, the average price was $448,000, just over that, but with a median price of $428,000. Now, the reason for this is because Parkallen is a community that's starting to see a decent amount of infill, and in Edmonton, a lot of the central communities, we have lots of infill homes where a builder buys an old home, knocks it down, builds a brand new one. You see a lot of that in Belgravia and McKernan here, and that's kind of spilled over to Parkallen in past years. So we have kind of some skewed data here where we have older detached homes selling around $400,000, and then we'll have $800,000 million infills in there as well. So there actually are quite a few homes in the $350,000 to $450,000 range, still pretty affordable range, and below $400,000 though. It's going to be a bit of an older home. It may need some updating. Usually they're decently well kept, but just some older components of it. But you're kind of paying for the location because it's such a great central location. But then you can still get something in the low to mid 400s that's updated, well taken care of, great location. But, essentially because these areas jump a little more in age, because we're going to be dealing with homes that are 40, 50 years old, it's definitely important just, again, to keep in mind that things have been properly updated, properly taken care of for the longevity of that home. So the average age of the home is anywhere from 1949 to 1960. The average for the area is 1950. Most of them were built around the 1950, give or take, kind of that post-war construction boom. Again, we're kind of seeing that in this community and around there. There are, like I said, a handful of infills in here, but just a big post-war construction boom community where you see lots of older bungalows and usually well kept up. As for amenities, you have tons of amenities here. Now, right in Parkallen, I mean, you can kind of see by the green stuff on the map, there's not really any parks other than like the school park right in the area, but you're so close that it's extremely easy to bike to the River Valley, U of A, Kinsman River Valley here. This is a pretty darn central location, about as central you can get without getting into, the even older, more central areas where you kind of need to get a condo or a fairly old home. Anyways, very accessible. You can get down to Horlack Park, which is a nice park down here in Edmonton. It's actually where these ice castles are done. Maybe you've seen those online. Golf clubs are accessible and whatnot, but the main part being that you're nice and close to White Ave. You're just one community over from the main stretch of White Ave right here. And then you also have University nice and close. Again, if you're new to Edmonton, White Ave is one of the main entertainment districts, especially on the south side. We have White Ave, which is 82nd Avenue here, is also called White Ave. The main stretch of it kind of goes, there's stuff all along, but kind of from 109th Street here to Gateway Boulevard here is where the bulk of the bars, restaurants, cafes are. As for schools, if we zoom in a little bit, I mean, any of these older communities have lots of schools. It's pretty easy to find an elementary school. That's kind of the nice part about these more central ones. Now, that being said, just to circle back, earlier in the video talking about Terwillegar, Windermere, etc. There are schools in those communities, but the problem we've had in Edmonton in previous years is because we've seen so many young families kind of flock to these new areas. Essentially, the issue has been the amount of schools in those areas. They're still kind of catching up. So sometimes if you live in these more southwest communities, the school might actually be further away than you realize, versus, when you're getting into more central places, very often you can have a elementary or junior high school, a couple blocks away, still walking distance kind of thing. You're also still pretty close to Southgate, nice straight shot. You actually have an LRT stop, so The U of A, you can see it here, is where this foot field is here, but this is the south campus for U of A here. It's more where the athletic fields are. There's not really classes and stuff there. And you can see right here the train icon again, and you can kind of see the train tracks on Google Maps if you zoom in even further. So you actually have a nice LRT stop right here. Pretty transit accessible again, and it's going to be really easy to get to U of A downtown with the LRT if you don't want to be driving for your work commute. So let's do a little drive times, and we'll wrap this up. So 7-minute drive from Parkallen to U of A, super easy. Literally 7 minutes to White Ave as well to most parts of it. As for downtown, for reference, 12 minutes, pretty central. That's not too bad to get to downtown. Because we're at kind of the northern edge of what's considered Southwest Edmonton, it's a little easy to get to these central communities, right? West Edmonton Mall, we got a 15-minute drive. Just for reference again, for those of you who that's the part of Edmonton So you are a little further away, but getting more central, which is nice. Southgate, like I said, 8 minutes. Again, this is showing the traffic pattern for when I'm recording this, so it's a little close to rush hour on a normal day. You can get there a little quicker. And last but not least, the airport. So 25-minute drive. As you can see, once you get on this Calgary Trail, again, it's a straight shot. So even though being more central, you still have decent access to the airport here. Again, if you're going to be moving more central communities, maybe you're not a frequent airport flyer. Kind of up to you. So that's all for today. That's our quick tour of Southwest Edmonton, giving you a bit of an idea, hopefully, about the different communities around the Southwest, what it can offer you, and hopefully helps you find what you're looking for, narrows it down. Again, I'm Thomas Harrington. Thanks for watching, and again, I'm a real estate agent, so if you're looking to move to Edmonton, I'd love to help you find a place to call home. I am a born and raised Edmontonian, and Southwest and West is definitely my specialty, but I know the entire city very well. Again, these aren't the only communities in these areas. They're very large areas, but I wanted to give you a few ideas of what you can get and where in Edmonton, and hopefully this helped you narrow it down. Or conversely, if you still don't know what you'd want or don't know where to look, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to help you find your home. You can contact me at thomasharrington.ca, and you can download my home buyer's guide there, or you can head over to my home search website, westedmontonliving.ca, and start browsing listings there. Thanks for watching, and I'll hope to hear from you soon.